Hello, so we look now at Slim, looking at various quotations for him from throughout the novella. I've only picked 7, I think it is, and the reason for that is that these ones kind of give us an idea on who he is and the kind of thing he can do. There are obviously tons more, and in the actual breakdown of the sections they're all there, but these are just a few, just in case you wanted to have a very concise selection to discuss this character. For first of all, he moves with majesty only achieved by royalty and master craftsman, so that's important because it shows us how high up the social scale he is on the ranch, and also the actual qualities he has, and the natural elegance and insight, intellect, everything that he has. He just naturally moves better than everyone else, and you could also say he's very out of sorts on the ranch, but it's a sign of the times that a person like him is still on the ranch simply because this is the only available work that there is. So perhaps before this he was a master trade at something else, but now he's joining the other itinerant workers, and it's showing as well how the economic depression has hit everyone. Although, like I say, we don't have a direct reference to another job that he has. It's just indicated there. This isn't the kind of person that should be just on a farm. Yes, and then Carlson steps back to let Slim precede him, which is obviously a mark of respect and reverence. It shows again his place in the pack. He as well comments on the oddity of George and Lenny travelling together, saying, "I've never seen two guys travel together." So it highlights to us the uniqueness of George and Lenny's relationship, but it also offers us a question as to whether it's a good thing or not. He doesn't pass comment on and say, "Hey, it's nice you've got a friend," or "You shouldn't," but the fact that he just kind of highlights it to the reader, and the idea here being that he is saying, this could end up badly, as obviously it does, because George always has to look after Lenny, etc, 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 and so sometimes it's better for a man, or it could just be easier for a man, to just not make those kind of connections and just have the very base, simple, and perhaps animalistic connections that people have, like with the whorehouses, and just by shooting the fat, as it were, with other people who are itinerant workers. The power of his word, described here for his opinions of law, and so that tells, whenever he speaks to anyone, that's why it's always well taken, well received. So when he tells Candy that his dog should be killed, then Candy doesn't put up a fight. A slight weakness from Candy, but obviously it moreover actually shows that he has the final say on what's going to happen, what's not going to happen. And so at the end, when we actually find him saying "you had to, George," that kind of sums that up for us a little as well. And as well, when he actually tells Curly about his hand, tells Curly about his hand that he's not going to say anything, it's really striking that Curly just kind of takes it and obviously whimpers. First of all, he doesn't want to say that he's been beaten up, but moreover, it just echoes for us how much Slim's opinions are respected, taken, and adhered to. Here we have an idea of responsibility, where he actually says to Curly, "I'm getting goddamn sick of it. If you can't look after your goddamn wife, what do you expect me to do about it?" So it's talking in some ways about, if you do have a connection at this time, then you have to look after it yourself. Now, obviously, with Curly, we've got a rather poor version of a man, so we know he's not really going to do it. But the lesson that's to be taken from it is about responsibility for the things that are, close to you, and obviously care for you. Because he says, look after your own goddamn wife. He doesn't simply say, keep an eye on. He doesn't say, tell her not to, etc. It's a reference to you satisfying that person, and obviously giving that person what they deserve, what they need. So it's really about companionship and the way we should treat people. And even though it's hidden here under the facade, or should I say facade, or it can also be referenced from the idea of him just saying, your problem, you deal with it. What he's actually saying, or what you can take him saying, is that responsibility is really important. You have to treat your wife properly. Obviously, people with companions have to treat their companions properly, and that obviously gives us an idea for all the other failed companionships that we have on the ranch. We can echo it in George and Lenny, and obviously Candy and his dog. We see him rise to anger, and it's important that he does rise to anger because then we can see that Curly's actions are completely wrong, even though we take them as wrong. The masterful person's also said that they're wrong, and is going to seek revenge on Curly for what he's doing. So that allows, or at least makes it clearer as to why Lenny's retribution isn't really a punishment in a way. It's not over the top. Here in saying that he'd do it himself, it shows that Slim would have sanctioned such an action. And then the last one, when he actually says to George, you had to, George, I swear you had to. Obviously, the repeating the fact that he had to or had a is really important because it's allows us to understand the gravity of the situation. And he's the one that actually said to George earlier, you can't leave him in a cage. So stressing it all these times is obviously reassuring George, and obviously maybe showing us a link to a new friend to George, but more importantly, it's summing up to the reader that euthanasia at some points is the right thing to do. So yeah, there's a lot of thick ideas, a lot of really heavy ideas that come through from him because of his position and because he's so clearly stated like this. It's really to be taken quite reverentially. We really have to think about what every word that Slim says a lot, because it's given such weight, as opposed to someone like Wit on the other end of the scale, who hasn't said anything of importance. So when you are looking at Slim, really analyse everything he says and everything said about him as closely as you can, because he's kind of the overarching figure of right and wrong in the novella.